All right, welcome everybody. Una Daly here from the Community College Consortium for OER, and we are so excited for this meeting. It's Friday though, and I have to say my fingers are kind of doing weird things, so we will do our best here. We have a really full and exciting webinar or session scheduled today. Because we are going to introduce ourselves and we're going to let each of the teams, and I'm sorry, it's just going to be the team leaders because there's 45 in all of you who are participating with us this year. Speak just very quickly about your motivation and aspirations. And then we're really going to dig in on the program itself. So let's see, we're at 50. So I think we'll go ahead and get started. I know a number of people have to leave right at the hour. So once again, this is the Open for Anti-Racism program. We are in our second year. And I know we have some of our coaches and our facilitators are from last year and can speak a little bit to that. But we have expanded the program. So last year we had 17 participants and this year we have 45. So we're really excited about that, and that the impact can be that much greater within the California Community College system. We want to thank the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation who supports this work. And we are going to give you, in addition to all the introductions that we're going to do, we're going to give you a program overview of what the year looks like at kind of a 20,000 foot level. And then of course, our course developers and facilitators are going to talk to you about the course itself, which is starting in 1 week. And then we'll go into kind of the calendar itself and then any questions that we can answer. But first up, let's start with the program team. And I think you heard from me, Una Daly, Director of CCCOER, and I'm going to turn it over to this team, this amazing team, to introduce themselves.
Hey everybody, thanks Una. James Galapagos-Clag, Dean at College of the Canyons, and just so excited to be here. I'm co-lead of the program with Una.
Absolutely. Liz?
Hi everybody, Liz Yada. I work with Una at CCC OER. I work remotely from Thousand Oaks, California, in Southern California.
Thanks, Liz. And you'll hear a lot from Liz. So
Liz is your friend.
Yes, go ahead, Kim, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm Kim Gruey, and I do work as an instructional designer, professional development kind of person at Northern Virginia Community College, but I do that from Mount Shasta, near Mount Shasta here in California. I live in Weed, California, and I've been working with community college faculty in this program for the last year. And I'm I've been in open since about 2014, and I'm very excited to be here, and I can't wait to meet everyone, and I'm happy to see people that I already know.
And hello, everyone. My name is Joy Shoemate. I'm the Director of Online Education at College of the Canyons, and so thrilled to be with all of you. Really fortunate that we get this opportunity to experience OFAR again a second time. So we're so excited to work with you. And I had the pleasure of working with Kim we co-developed and will be co-facilitating the course, but also we have another facilitator that we're really excited for you all to meet as well. So stay tuned.
Thank you, Joy and Kim. And yes, it's so wonderful to have Joy and Kim with us for a second year. And I think those of you who participated last year know what an amazing impact they had on the program. Very quickly, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Community College Consortium for OER, we work nationally with community colleges around open, but we were founded right here in California, and the Chancellor's Office is a member, and we have 14 individual California community colleges who are actual members of CCCOER, and through them, there's a 40% discount for any other college that would like to join us. And now I want to turn it over to the coaches to introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mari Tezapigo, and I am from Contra Costa College in San Pablo, California, although I live in Oakland, California. And at Contra Costa, I am the Distance Education Coordinator, Open Educational Resources Coordinator, and English professor. I was an advisory coach last year and excited to continue in that role. Also excited to be co-facilitating the 6-week course that you're all going to be engaged in to kick it off. Really want to send a warm welcome to our new cohort this year. It was really competitive. So consider yourselves very lucky to be here, and I want to welcome you.
Thanks, Maritez.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elisa Cooper, and I teach freshman composition, literature, and journalism at Glendale Community College, but not the one in California. I'm in Arizona next door, where it's a lot hotter. And I've worked with Una in the past, and last year with this program was really awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing all of those proposals that I read in action. So good luck to you all, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
Thanks, Elisa. And we're thrilled to have you back this year. Jamie?
Hi there, everyone. I hope you can see me. I am a professor of linguistics at Santa Monica, and I'm really excited to be a part of OFAR this year. I'm new to OFAR, but I've been working with the @ONE for California community colleges, providing professional development in equity and culturally responsive teaching. And I'm lucky enough to be able to work with James, GG, who's on OFAR this time. So it's really great to join this initiative and get to learn from all of you.
Wonderful. Welcome, Jamie. And hello.
Hi, everybody. I'm Deborah Crumpton. I am so excited. Oh my God, this is the highlight of my week. I'm just so excited. I teach at Sacramento City College. I teach business. I also serve as the coordinator of our new faculty academy. And it was a very competitive process. I'm so proud that Sacramento City College was one that was chosen. I'm so looking forward to just participating as a coach. I was part of the cohort of 17 last semester, I guess it was. And so I'm just looking forward to what all of the opportunities to learn and grow and engage. And I'm so excited, so I better go mute myself right now because I'm screaming in the background.
Thank you, Deborah, and we're thrilled to have you. And as she mentioned, she is one of 4 of our coaches who was a member of the cohort last year. And so we're so excited to have that kind of growth going forward. And now I want to back up and also invite Aloha Sargent, who is also a coach, a returning coach this year.
Hi, everybody. My name is Aloha, and I am a librarian and OER liaison at Cabrillo College, which is in Santa Cruz. And as Una said, I was a coach last year as well. And I'm excited to be back again this year working with you all.
Thank you so much, Aloha. All right. Now we did hear from Deborah. Thank you so much, Deborah. And now you should, oops, I'm sorry. You should be able to see, I told you I was funny fingers today. But now we're going to hear also from the other coaches who've joined us who were in the cohort last year. Anna. Anna, are you with us? I'm looking to see. While we're waiting for Anna to find her microphone or to join us, she is a chemistry professor at Monterey Peninsula College and did some fantastic work with her students last year, which I know she'll be looking forward to sharing with us. And I'm going to go on now to Oliver.
Hi, everyone. My name is Oliver Rosales. I'm a professor of history at Bakersfield College. Part of the cohort last year. It was really, really invigorating and a lot of fun. So I was so excited to be invited back as an advisory coach. My work mostly deals with like open pedagogy and also community surveying and digital humanities and the use of ArcGIS technology. So super excited to be here and so glad that Bakersfield College is participating.
Wonderful. Glad you could Join us, Oliver. And Hasna Sadat Ahadi.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hasna Sadat Ahadi. My pronouns are she, her, aya. I'm blessed to be in the lands of Lucenio and Kumaya here in North County, San Diego. I'm from Palomar College, where I'm an assistant professor in counseling, and I'm also the co-chair for Educators for Equity, Diversity, and Cultural Consciousness on our campus to the Faculty Senate. And I just want to congratulate all of you for making it to the OFAR Cohort 2. I'm part of OFAR Cohort 1, and it was the best experience of my life. So I'm really looking forward to learning from all of you, but also sharing some of my insight with decolonizing your curriculum, pedagogy, and praxis.
Thank you very much, Hasna. So as you can see, we have just a wonderful team that's available to work with you this year as you come through the OFAR program. All right. Now at this point, I am going to be asking the team leaders from each group to just share really briefly a little bit about not so much your team, since your team is on here, but maybe a kind of a general, what brought you here and one aspiration. And you have about 45 seconds. Sorry to be so stringent. Go ahead.
So the
Jeff.
timer's on. Okay, thank you very much. I'm Jeff Newby from Bakersfield College, and you can see the cohort here, we're all history. And so I think one of the main reasons why we want to do this is because we teach a range of history, and we can easily see the historical and systemically racist foundations of Western culture. That's apparent from the switch from religious slavery to racialized slavery to Jim Crow laws to black codes before those to redlining to Chinese exclusion acts and even apartheid. And so being able to take those concepts and put them into our teaching is, I think, of the utmost importance to us. I don't want to speak for everyone, but to speak for myself, being in a place where you see so much pushback against anti-racist pedagogy and pushback against CRT really fires me up to integrate this as much as I can into my teaching. Zach De La Rocha has this saying, he's paraphrasing Dr. Martin Luther King, where he says, "Let the riot be the rhyme of the unheard." And so if the riot is the rhyme of the unheard, then I want my curriculum to start some fires, metaphorically. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jeff. And Jeff and his team also work with incarcerated students and also a rural initiative. And so I do think that was an exciting option that the OER they create for their Bakersfield on-campus activities would also be used in those programs. All right, next up, Imperial Valley.
Hi, so I'm Alan Leon. I teach math at Imperial Valley College, and we have a pretty wide range of subjects here. We've got psychology, history, composition and reading, communications, nursing, and then statistics. I'm focusing on statistics, but I want to bring this specifically to math, to math in general. I think all of us on the team, just like Jeff had said, bring our own reasons for wanting to participate in this. But for me, part of this has just been kind of an evolution over the last couple of years where I've wanted to change how I teach and how I bring things to the classroom. I went to IVC, so I was a student there, and I grew up in the Valley before I became a faculty there. And just wanting to make our subjects more relevant to everyone. I know in my subject specifically, a lot of problems are really dry and seem foreign, and that's part of the problem that I think people have with math, is connecting to it. So I attended some racial equity stuff over the summer, and I've done some work with ungrading and OER over the last year. And this just seems like the next logical step in trying to bring these changes to our college. And we got to start with maybe just a few people here and there, and hopefully it'll spread through to the rest of our campus. But I think this project can bring a lot of good change to our campus.
Wonderful, Ellen. We're really pleased to have you join us, and being I think of the 8 colleges that are participating this year, your Imperial Valley is the only one that is classified as a rural college, although I know a number of the other colleges are within rural boundaries. Really, really pleased to also have that representation.
Great to be here.
Yeah, wonderful. And next up is Diablo Valley College. And I know Duran had contacted us and said they may be running a little late. Duran, are you here?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, wonderful. Go right ahead.
So hi, everyone. My name is Duran Ansarian, and I'm part of the team at Diablo Valley College. It's great to be here. For us, I think there are a few different reasons why we wanted to come forth and hopefully be part of this cohort. And one of those reasons is that our students demand it. A few years ago, there were some incidences on campus, and students really organized and said our institution needs to do better. And a lot of the faculty that are part of this team have been leading those efforts. And so this is another opportunity for us to hopefully take some of these practices and bring them back to our institution and continue to hold our institution accountable for what the students say that they need and deserve. And you can also see that we're kind of from a bunch of different disciplines. So personally, it's just a wonderful opportunity to get to work with colleagues and to meet all of you. So thank you.
Wonderful. And that's exactly what we hope with the OFAR program, is that you will make a larger impact and bring this back to your campus. So thank you, Doreen. Next up is Monica from Merritt College.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Monica. I'm actually a chair of music over at Merritt College and also the DE coordinator. So we have such a fantastic team, and we are so excited and shocked that we got in. Merritt College is, the historical college in the sense that it was home of the Black Panthers. So we have a legacy to honor for our students. And we also are serving an increasing Latinx population right now, coming in from the Fruitvale district in Oakland. And then also, part of why we're doing this too, in addition to the anti-racist idea here, is we want to make sure there's room to consider ageism, xenophobia, and in where we see these problems in classes, especially in the online platform as well. And a huge part of our district, we're working on the Peralta Equity Rubric. And so I don't know if some of you heard of that, but shout out to us. So we're really using that rubric to kind of redesign our imaging in our classroom. And this also became part of the reason why we applied, because a lot of us are DE focused, but we're from all over. So our thing is definitely equity is at the forefront of our project, but we're from biosci, music, sociology, educational technology, librarianship. So we're here and very excited to work with all of you. So thank you.
Thank you, Monica. And I'm really glad you brought up the Peralta Equity Rubric. That's such a wonderful resource and it's used nationally. So really exciting. All right, next up is Norco College, Keandra.
Hi, everyone. I am so honored to be here and to represent my team. And like everyone else, we are absolutely excited and thrilled to have been chosen. As you can see, we come from a very diverse, we have a very diverse group of faculty members. And that diversity is not just our different disciplines that we teach, but we have faculty that are full-time, faculty that are part-time, faculty that have taught at Norco for shorter times and longer times. And then we're also from diverse backgrounds and represent diversity in our group. That was something that was important for us. We call ourselves the JEDI professors. JEDI stands for Justice, Equity, Diversity, Inclusion. So that lets you know what our focus is. We are really focusing on reconstructing an anti-racist OER canon on Norco campus. And I don't know if a lot of you are familiar with Norco, but it is a former sundown city. And so we really want to change the culture of Norco College. I know myself and a few others are part of the anti-justice task force that our president started last year. So we are really just looking to integrate anti-racist pedagogy and OER materials and really change the culture and just really facilitate that at our college.
Wonderful. Thank you, Keandra. And I'm also glad that you mentioned the adjunct component, the part-time professors. And many of the teams that are participating this year do have adjuncts. That was something that we looked at. We wanted to also have representation from them. So thank you so much. And next up is Pasadena City College. Patrick?
Hey folks, I'm Patrick Rock from Pasadena City College. We're just outside of LA. We've got a team of 6 of us coming from PCC. We're teaching a mix of psychology, statistics, and history. So we're all over the social sciences. We were inspired to apply by an equity-focused reading group that we were in this past spring. So we were reading the book Grading for Equity, and I don't know how many folks have read it, but if you haven't, it's fantastic. And we had all these awesome conversations, and we felt like we had all these ideas for how to make our teaching more anti-racist. And then it was sort of a bummer. It was a sort of a letdown that we didn't have that structure, right, to continue to have those conversations as we were really starting to do the work in earnest, to try out new things, to revise and implement new materials. So we're really excited to be here, to have the opportunity to expand our thinking on equity, to try out new strategies, and to get feedback and help troubleshooting from folks who have been doing this for a lot longer than us.
Wonderful. And I'm really glad you brought up that Grading for Equity. I think we have that resource in the course. If not, of course, you'll all be invited to share resources that you have with other folks. So thank you, Patrick. Sacramento City College, Donna.
Can you see me? Can you hear me? Hi. So I'm Donna DiMartini, and as you can see from our slide, we're a mix of there's 6 of us with 3 from math and 3 from English. And we are, we're really here to improve the outcomes in math and English at our college. The 6 of us are, which by the way we have a mix of part-time and full-time. We have untenured and tenured, and all of us have already been using OER materials in our courses, and we're all on our own kind of anti-racism journey. But our main goal or our aspiration for OFAR is to be able to create materials that can be used and adopted by members of our departments and divisions. And so, really spreading that work, and we're really excited to be here.
Wonderful. Yeah. And math and English, of course, as we know, are the really high impact courses. So it's really exciting to hear that, Donna. All right. And I think that this might be our last college, which is West LA College. Marini?
Hi, everyone. My name is Marini Smith, and I am an associate professor of education and child development at West Los Angeles College. We are very excited to be a part of this esteemed group. And as you can see, like many of the other groups, we have a very diverse group of participants in the OFAR project. We have folks coming from political science, English, basic skills, theater, etc. And for us, I think our motivation really came from our college's mission. West LA College is an Hispanic serving institution, and I feel that we really endeavor to try to entrench ourselves in this diversity and equity work. Our mission states that West LA College has a commitment to racial equity and social justice, and to challenge the foundations of implicit and explicit bias, and to address historic and persistent inequity. So for us, we wanted to kind of walk the talk, and we saw this project as an opportunity to put these goals into action, and then through our curriculum, begin to institutionalize anti-racist pedagogy. So we aspire to continue on this trajectory by sharing curriculum with our colleagues, continuously reflecting on our practices, and being responsive to the voices of our students to ensure that they feel represented and valued. And so we really want to take this as an opportunity to not just say that we're going to do this work, but to really do it and to entrench it and institutionalize it into our practices. And not just from our group, but to have a trickle-down effect throughout our campus. So we're excited to be here, and thank you so much for including us in this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, Marini. And yeah, what a wide set of disciplines. And I think we are just humbled by your aspirations and the work that you hope to do, that you have done already at your colleges and that you hope to do this year. So very quickly, why the Open for Anti-Racism program is, I think you know, we kicked this off in fall of 2020 for the first cohort. And the summer of 2020, of course, was a very painful summer for many people, and a great realization of the systemic racism that was occurring, that has been occurring in our society and education, and particularly some educational practices and instructional materials. And so the hypothesis that we started with was that faculty wanted to make their classrooms anti-racist, but they needed more information, tools, a safe place to learn and implement. And last year we had over 300 applications for 17 slots. So we certainly heard that, yes, they did want this. And you know, James and I and many of our leaders come from the open space. And so we realized that OER, the use of OER and open pedagogy are tools that faculty can use in their classrooms with their students to make those changes. So we did get some feedback from our cohort last year and from our researchers and we've integrated that in this year. And one of them was to go deeper into the institutions and to look at more evidence of impact by looking even at student outcomes. And there is a link here, and you'll have the copy of these slides to look at later for the participant showcases. One thing that people asked us last year is, where are the examples of what these might look like, these projects? And since it was our first year, we didn't have any, but since last year we had 17 wonderful projects, you can use this link to take a look at those. And now I want to turn it over to James Glappa-Grossklag, who will take us into the program overview and many other insights.
Thank you, and thanks so much. Just before we go to the next slide, I would just add to this. You know, you mentioned a bit that you and I, Una, we come from the open education space, the OER world. Una and I have been deeply involved in OER and open education for over a decade now, and we should say that over the past few years, it's become very apparent that our field of open education is blindingly white. And it's become apparent that using OER may remove the textbook costs for students, but if you're basically reproducing a commercial textbook, you're also perhaps reproducing the patriarchy and white supremacy that is in our commercial textbooks. So that was sort of, I think, those concerns, or that evolution of thinking was in our heads as well. Throughout the spring and summer of 2020, when we were looking for a way that we could act from our positions within our profession. So for a lot of reasons, we're excited to be here. It's also a journey of humility and learning for Una and myself as well. So thanks for letting us be a part of your journey. So let's go into the next slide, if we can, Liz. Thank you so much. We're going to give you a little overview of the program. You will have these slides, as Una mentioned. This information, most of this information is already on the website, and the other, whatever's not there will be there. But we want to walk you through a little bit of the staging this year. So right now we're in the fall, of course. This is sort of the kickoff learning and planning phase. So the learning is going to begin, of course, with the workshop course in November through the beginning of December. We have a number of webinars already scheduled. November 19th, December 3rd, that will provide you more information as you imagine what you might be doing in your own classes in the spring. November 19th, we'll highlight some of the projects from cohort 1. December 3rd, we're going to go much more deeply into the calendar of the rest of the year. In early December, you'll receive feedback on your action plans for what you're going to change in your classes. And we should note that the contracts, so you will have contracts, right? Because we hope to pay you. We hope to honor your labor and the investment of time. So there is paperwork always involved in that. Next slide, please. January, you'll be transitioning from your learning phase to workshops and peer groups. So you will have, your team will be assigned to one of the advisory coaches you met earlier. We're asking you to have 2 meetings scheduled with your team's assigned coach. We're also asking you to submit a monthly reflection on an individual basis, your own individual reflection. Through January, we have a couple of more webinars scheduled that will introduce you to some sort of the intersection of anti-racism and equity and OER. We will also have in January, for those who need it, a series of workshops on the nuts and bolts of OER. Open licensing. What I've heard of Creative Commons, what the heck is that? How do I find OER? Everybody's talking about this. What do I do? So we'll have some additional learning opportunities for you in January if you're not quite comfortable after the course. Next slide, please. Then through the spring, this is really your time. You'll be teaching your class. You'll be implementing those great ideas that you had in November and December, right? They're grand ideas, and then you get down to the reality of, oh boy, how do I actually do this? So we will continue providing support. Monthly webinars throughout the spring. Note our webinars are always Fridays at noon. You'll have your peer meetings with your team and your coach, advisory coach. We'll also have some research activities, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next slide. We're asking you to participate in the research so we can document the impact. We're also asking you to share out on your campus. It might be a department meeting, might be a flex workshop, it might be, whatever suits your local context, but we'd like to see some, we'll ask you at the end of the year to send us some sort of documentation, maybe a copy of a flyer, a copy of an email, you spoke at a division meeting, something like that. We want to know that you're impacting the institution. And then we ask for a final reflection from you towards the end of the year. Next slide, please. And then we also, this year, as Una mentioned, we want to try to go deeper into institutional impact. So also throughout the spring, we'll ask you to please pass along the invitations to our webinars to others on your campus, a dean, a department chair, the chair of your equity committee, etc., the key players on your campus. You'll recall that institutional research was really emphasized in our communications to you. It's absolutely essential that your institutional research department understands what's going on and will be supporting you, because we will be asking your institutional research department to provide student outcomes data for the classes you've taught over the past few years, also for spring, when you're doing your implementation, when you're doing the intervention, and then in the fall, the coming fall, because we want to demonstrate change over time, right? That hopefully, right? Hopefully that we'll see change over time. And then we'll also ask to conduct an interview with somebody on your campus, probably the person who wrote the letter of support for you. Again, we want to document the impact that we're having, or that you're having. And also note that we are available to come to your campus, do a workshop, maybe talk to your equity committee, if you have a recalcitrant administrator, we can come have a chat with that person, that maybe it's a conversation you're not comfortable having, and so on. That's an option. Of course, it kind of depends on COVID, right? We'll see what happens. But we are available to do that. That's also part of our support. We can do that via Zoom as well. Next slide, please. And now that's the cue for, what did I miss? Una's going to tell me what I missed.
I just wanted to leave a little time here if people had a question or two before we move on to the course overview, because you covered a lot of information, James.
Yeah. So yes, questions, concerns, comments.
James, did you want to mention anything about the RP group or?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Una. Yeah, so some of you may be familiar with the work of the RP group, the Research and Planning Group. They are really the premier research and planning organization that works with California community colleges. They organize the Strengthening Student Success Conference every year. They've done most recently a ton of research on the impacts of AB 705. And they work very closely with the state chancellor's office. So they're basically the unofficial in-house research team for the community college system here. And we've contracted with them now for a second year to help us with the research. So your institutional research team will be interacting directly with them. Their colleagues, they know each other, they speak the same language. And they've been really terrific thought partners, I have to say, to help us think through how best to document the impact of what you're doing. You know, you're an instructor, you know what's going on in your classroom. Maybe data and institutional research is not your sweet spot. So they've helped us really think through how to best document what you're doing and doing it in a way so that others will understand. And the more that others understand the great work that you're doing, the more likely it is that we can continue this work and expand this work.
Yeah, and the only thing I would add is that all of this, you know, is anonymized data and will never be identified by institution or faculty member if it's ever published. And in fact, we don't ever see it. It's all done by the RP group. Even if I wanted to ask them, how is campus blah, blah, blah doing? That is not something that's available to us. That is something that is done at the research level. So for those of you who, for me, I wasn't familiar with that last year, and I asked them a question about, can I find out which college responded that way? And they were, no, you can't. And so just to let you know that about the research piece.
Excellent point. Thank
yeah,
you.
it's so important to being able to publish this at a broad scale. All right, well, I would like to turn this over to our course developers and facilitators now.
Thank you. Next slide, please. We're going to talk a little bit about the course. Now, the course is in Canvas, everyone. And one thing that's really important to note here, like in number 2, you may have an institutional instance of Canvas that you log into through your college, but in this one, it's the free instance of Canvas, and you'll need to go to the canvasinstructure.com and log in there at the Canvas Free for Teachers. And I don't mean to be pedantic or remedial in my approach here, but it can really be very confusing at first if you're not clear about that. So it's going to be in the Free for Teachers. It's not available yet, but we plan to make it available to you on Saturday, even though the course doesn't officially begin until the following Monday. That Saturday, I guess Halloween, or like Halloweenish 30th, October 30th, and the course starts on the 1st. So there's nothing for you to log into right now because we are still just adjusting some of the schedule. We got a lot of feedback from last year's participants, and we're hoping that the pacing this year will be a little bit better for you all because it's pretty intense anyway, but in a good way. And we're hoping that the pacing is good. Now, when you get to the course for the first time, as James had mentioned, the research that we gather also comes a little bit from you. And so there is a pre-course survey required, and we really appreciate you doing it. And once you do that, you'll be giving a secret password so that you can take a quiz and then unlock the entire course. So all the modules will be hidden when you first come in, but you'll be able to look at the syllabus and get an idea of what the course is like. You won't be able to open the modules until you do that pre-course survey. So just letting you know that, and that will be available on Saturday, I believe, to you so that you can get started a little early if you like. Next slide, please. And then one at a time, Una, so I'm going to ask you to click one at a time if that's okay. Yeah, so the first one is just welcome and introductions, but we will spend a little bit of time sort of exploring our own identities in depth and using that as a sort of starting off point for our conversations. And the next one, module 2, we'll do community building, and we'll build on what we started in module 1. And we'll actually talk about community agreements, and we will set the tone and the stage and the and the context for how we will have these difficult but important conversations about our own personal teaching and learning and about our own journey as anti-racist educators. So then in module 3, we dive into the topic at hand and we begin with an exploration of anti-racism, and we operationalize the term for how we're going to use it in our work together. And we also tie this all into an action plan that really becomes the focal point of this whole workshop. Also, each of these modules are approximately a week each. We're going to allow a little more time. We know that there's a Thanksgiving break coming up during the time that our course runs. And so we have planned that holiday sort of into the timing. But in essence, each of these modules will be about a week each. So once we dive into module 3, then we start getting into OER. And you can just click, OER and how they support anti-racism. And so we'll kind of look at our materials. And from feedback we got last year, there's some interactive things for us to work through in that module together, just practicing licensing our own material and being sure we really understand what the licenses mean, and just trying to demystify some of those parts of the process that can be daunting to newcomers. And we know we have different levels of ability or knowledge with OER, and we welcome that, and we'll learn from each other and help each other in that. And then in module 5, we move into open pedagogy. And so then we're looking more at our approaches and our teaching learning practices and how those sorts of open pedagogical practices can help us become more anti-racist educators and make our spaces more anti-racist. And then in module 6, that's when we finalize the action plan. Again, I want to say these are the topics, but the focal point of the program is the action plan, because that becomes the deliverable. It becomes the guide that you use to implement. It's another way to collect and just sort of compare what you do to what you'd hope to do and that sort of thing. So the actual deliverable is the action plan, and it's important. And we do introduce it week 1. And we're going to align you with your coaches by week 2 so that you know who your coach is, and you can be talking about your action plan and your ideas there with the coach. And so that's how the schedule will be in the course. Next slide, please. And so the action plan that we're talking about, it has some elements that are required. But basically you are going to, and some of you clearly, with your applications and your teams, you sort of have in mind, you've already got these statements even about what you would like to do, but that's what the action plan is. You set your goals, your short-term goals, how you're going to accomplish this. And you're going to also, how are you going to scale it up? What's the timeline? How are you going to bring it beyond your math and English department to, further along? So the action plan asks you to look short-term and long-term and implement it in the semester following. So you finish up in December in this course. And then the idea is you're going to take this action plan that you came up with, and you're going to actually implement that in the spring semester. So that's what the course is about. You'll be in your teams in small groups weekly. We'll ask you weekly. So we'll let you know this ahead of time so you can think about it. How might your team be able to check in weekly? It can be a synchronous meeting. It can be asynchronous. Everybody's provided a small group space in our Canvas site in order to show evidence that you've met, or to use the space as your asynchronous meeting space. So you're going to see there are a lot of options for engagement. We're into universal design for learning. And so we honor and respect and welcome multiple forms of engagement and expression. And so there are a couple of whole group discussions. We're hoping that you'll be willing to share your action plans and be collaborative and be working with others on that as you go. There'll be a couple of chances for an individual reflection, but we try to keep it manageable. We really heard loud and clear last year's group, and we try not to overwhelm you with just quote busy work. We just try to supplement your learning and help you implement and envision and get that action plan ready to roll for your students at your colleges. Next slide.
Kim, if I can just add quickly.
Thank you, Joy. I was just going to turn it over to you, I think, after this,
Oh,
but
no,
go,
no,
please.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I just wanted to add and clarify, Kim, that was great. The action plan is an individual plan. So we realize that you're coming here as teams. And so as Kim was mentioning, we have tried to carve out kind of weekly a space, if you will, an asynchronous space, but that can certainly turn into a synchronous space if you choose. We've carved out some time for your teams to kind of work together to support each other. We recognize that, you all kind of bringing back your own individual actions can also support greater and have greater meaning and impact on your campuses. So it's important that you have time to be there to support each other as teams and as colleagues together, but also keeping in mind that as you're thinking about the action plan, week by week and reflecting on the learning weekly and how that can impact maybe what you choose to implement in your own course, those plans are still unique and individual to each of you. So I just say that to say no plan has to look the same or be the same or be implemented the same way. We encourage and we're excited to see sort of what you all choose to do. I think a big part, what really excites me about this program is really the emphasis on doing. There's a lot of talk about anti-racism or equity or diversity, and they're all the buzzwords and we can talk about them a lot, but really the focus of this program is kind of providing the tools and the learning so that you guys can get started with doing. And that's really exciting. So the action plan is where you get to think kind of about what you want to do in your individual courses, but also having that space to work with your teams, but also with your the larger cohort to really collaborate together, support each other, lift each other up in this work, because it's not easy work, but that's why we've got each other here, to support each other through it. So that's all I've got. Any questions for Kim or me?
And it's great to collaborate and not do things by yourself. Because again, I'm assuming we've been working on this, everybody knows what I'm talking about. And so thank you to Joy for clarifying that each person definitely will be doing their own action plan, but you will be working it with people from your institution and your team, to support, to collaborate, and you can do whatever you want, but maybe I hear you as teams wanting to work together. So thank you. And I think that is, next slide, please, Una. Is that pretty much ours? We will use the calendar and Canvas a lot, and we will try to get all of these dates in the Canvas calendar. And I'm even working on it, putting it somewhere else with a quick one click. So I do want to say that about Canvas.
Yeah, thank you, Joy and Kim. And I think I'm turning this over to James. I wanted to make one comment, unless James would like to, is that there are 45 participants in this program this year. And so you will be divided into 2 cohorts, just to let you know. So there will be approximately 20, 22, 23 in each cohort that will go through with 2 facilitators. Joy, did you want to speak about that a little bit, was that enough?
Sure, I think you covered it. Yeah, basically, so as to not make, we all know, so as to not make the courses too large, to actually really engage and be able to build connection. We're going to have 2 courses kind of moving simultaneously through the content, and have 2 facilitators for each course. So I think what was a real strength of the first cohort of OFAR was the bonding and the connection that, 2 sections. Thank you, Kim. The bonding that really happened in the group, and it was because we were, again, there were 17 participants plus the 2 facilitators. So we really want to try to honor that space for, some smaller group dynamics to develop. So yeah, 2 sections of the course will be running simultaneously.
Thank you.
Thanks, Una.
Thanks, Joy. James, did you want to talk about the fall calendar of events?
Sure, just a reminder, we touched on this briefly earlier, but remember, officially the class begins next Monday. But as Kim noted, it'll be open Saturday. I was listening, Saturday.
We said Saturday. I lobbied for Sunday. No, we were going to open it Saturday. We want
It'll be open when it's done.
Saturday sometime.
No, kudos to Joy and Kim. We have provided them with so many feedback opportunities. We had external reviewers from all over the United States comb through the course and more, many more. So they've been incredibly gracious at accepting and continuing to improve. Then you see on Friday the 19th at 12 noon, we'll have our first webinar, which will be examples from cohort 1, give you ideas what others did. December 3rd at noon, we'll talk more about calendaring, the nuts and bolts, and then Saturday, December 11th, the course ends and you'll receive feedback on your action plan. So that's this fall. Any questions about that? Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. These are just some resources for you to check out. The OFAR program page is cccoer.org, right? The main webpage /OFAR, simple as that. And there are all kinds of things that you can find there, including a link to the webinar, OFAR webinars. And then what would be probably very interesting for you is the showcases recordings of the participants last year, sort of reporting out at the end of the year. And I know Liz put that link in the chat earlier as well. So I guess the lesson is just dig around the OFAR website. You'll find all kinds of cool stuff to let you know what to expect. Next slide, I think, is going to go back to Una or Liz.
This one goes to Liz. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. So you've probably already seen my email in your inboxes quite a bit. So in terms of project-related communications, I created a Google group. You should have gotten a notification. If you didn't, let me know. While Google Groups does have an online forum feature, we're not really using that. We're mostly just using it through email. So don't worry if you click on the link and you can't view it as a forum. Contracts and invoicing, I will be sending you messages with your contracts and information on how to send me your W-9s and all that fun stuff starting next week. And so College of the Canyons will be providing OER support. So we got the emails there, and remember to include James. And any other questions, you can contact Una.
Yeah, travel information. No, just joking. Recipes, you can contact me. Thank you, Liz. Yeah, and we are also very excited about the January through June timeframe, and James and I and others are working on getting some wonderful speakers to come in on anti-racism, and so stay tuned on that. All right, so once again, here's a set of resources around OER. If you haven't been participating in OER very much up until this point, CCC OER obviously has a lot of tutorials, licensing information, webinars, etc., that you can catch up with. And we do have a free email list if you would like to be part of that discussion group. And of course, the Academic Senate, the California Community College Academic Senate, has been running their OERI project for, I think they're going into their 3rd year, and they've just got some wonderful resources. So if you're not currently engaged in that, there's ways to join their email list and also to go to their website and see some of the wonderful OER products that they have been supporting. And at this point, it's really open for Q&A. And also, if, as we're waiting for questions to come in, if any of our participants from last year, our new coaches would like to say anything, or any of our coaches from last year, please jump in. We only could fit in so much in 60 minutes, which is why we have 2 more webinars coming up in November and early December to share additional information.
Luna, can I say something really quickly?
Sure.
I just wanted to say, for the participants this year, it might sound like an overwhelming amount of paperwork or conversations that you have, but to me, all those conversations last year were enjoyable. And I'm so excited that this year, we're incorporating the student data collection point, because that's just very important. And to show that direct impact on students, it's so exciting to see us do that this year. So just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Oliver. Really, really happy to hear that you see the that you also think that's important.
Una, if I could just jump in for a second, I wanted to make sure that we acknowledged and highlighted. So we mentioned that there will be 2 sections of the course running. Kim and I help develop the course and facilitate the first year, but we're really glad, and I want to make sure we acknowledge Maritez, who will be also facilitating the course this year. So the 2 sections, Kim and I will facilitate one of the sections, and Maritez and I will facilitate the other. So I just wanted to give a moment. I didn't want to overlook her. She has been so influential and so essential to the improvements and the revision to the course. So we're really excited to have her on the team. So I just wanted to give a moment to highlight Maritez and make sure you all are aware that she could potentially be one of your facilitators, depending on which section you're in.
Thank you, Joy.
You're too sweet, Joy. I just wanted to also let everyone know that we are, as we create the 2 sections, we are going to keep everyone in their college team, so you won't be split apart in that way. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Maritez, for that. So it'll be 4 colleges in one section and 4 in the other is the current thought. And I'm sure that Joy and Kim and Maritez will give me some feedback on how that will work. But I think it's may also be important to point out, and I know you have, but I'm repeating this, is that the peer groups that you will be working with within that 6-week course, you will not be just strictly working with your college mates, because we heard the feedback of being the opportunity to work with people from other institutions was really valuable last year. And
yeah, and that's why we're going to utilize the whole group discussion, and we're going to have I was really excited to see so many people excited about their disciplines because we're also, and again, just hats off to Maritez, just the brief time I've been working with her the last couple of weeks, she already gave us wonderful ideas. And this is Maritez's, we should let people of the same discipline kind of peer review each other's plans, because, a plan in math probably looks a lot different than a plan in, I don't know, English. So yeah, you will be getting a chance to interact with each other and then with your team. So yeah, welcome again. I'm glad Joy mentioned Maritez. Thank you for doing that.
And we're getting some great questions in here. So let's see. So Doreen, yes, you and I should talk after this really briefly, and I may not be able to answer those questions, but I can direct you at someone. And Keandra asked, and I'm not sure if she asked that before or after, I think just now, she said, will the groups be decided based on discipline areas or other ways? And I don't know if Joy and Kim have made a final and Maritez have made a final decision on that.
I can chime in. We are going to keep the teams by college. So you will be working closely with those in your college. And we will have an opportunity after you have a rough draft of your action plan, more towards, module 5. You'll have an opportunity to get some feedback from others in OFAR who may not be from your college, but are also part of your discipline. So that'll be a nice opportunity for you to share OER and other resources related to your discipline. So, but primarily you'll be with your college. I have to go back up in the chat. Were there other questions? Because you can unmute yourself as well if you have a question, just in case we missed.
I do have a question. May I?
Go ahead, Becky.
Great.
Becky.
I was wondering, so you said that there's a free Canvas site that we will be going to, and we use Canvas at PCC as well. But I know for the ASCCC OERI work, the two were merged. So I use the same password. Is that possible with the CCC OER OFAR course as well?
Great question, but it's not. No, it's not. The ASCCC, they are formally a part of the California Community College machinery, if you will.
Okay.
We are not. We are supported by a private philanthropic foundation, the Hewlett Foundation, gratefully so. But we do not have access to the Canvas instance that is licensed by the California Community Colleges. So
I see.
it's real, but thanks for letting us emphasize that again. They're two different worlds. Your credentials for your college Canvas are not relevant here.
Okay. Okay. And will we be receiving an invite like we normally would for any other Canvas course? And will that come Saturday, October 30th?
Yeah, and yeah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And we should know it will come to the email that you have provided in your application. If you're using a different email than you provided in your application, it'll be tricky for us to track that down. So just, be sure that you're looking for the email you provided in your application.
Yes. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, I think we covered a heck of a lot in 1 hour's time. This is incredibly exciting. For myself, this is the best thing I'm going to do all week. So you guys have made me go into the weekend. Sometime the weekend will start today with a really, really positive attitude and a lot of gratitude for the work that we get to do together.
Thank you, James, and thank you all for joining us today for this kickoff meeting. We're on our way. Things will kind of officially start for you participants. Well, you'll see the emails next week with the contractual information, and then Saturday or Sunday, you'll get an opportunity for your first login. So thanks to everyone. And I'll be online here for a little bit longer. I think James has to leave, but if there's any questions in addition to those that were shared earlier,